Drawings. Now next on with the show, our next speaker. He's from right down the road, New Florence.
Get one more.
First time here.
Perfect.
He's a writer, a columnist, a playwright. He specializes in the connection between folklore and the paranormal. And we have a big round of applause for Ed Kellamson. Ed Kellamson, here!
Hello. I'm not as young as some of these guys, so I got the memory span of a newborn gnat, so I'm going to have to refer to some of my notes here. What I want to talk about here is paranormal phenomenon. Is it a supernatural, folklore, or a hoax? And, you know, some of you people may wonder, you know, how the hell did a playwright wind up writing about the paranormal and getting involved in it? Well, about 15 years ago, one of my plays was being produced at the West Overton Museums. And during the production, we were having all kinds of problems with the spirits that were hanging out at the West Overton Museums. And that sort of got us going. The first thing that happened was one of my friends got there early for one of the rehearsals. Turned the stage lights on, went out and sat on stage to read the script, and the lights went out. So she gets up, goes back, checks the breaker, it's okay, the switch is okay. She resets it, comes back out, sits down, and the lights go out. So she gets up again, walks in, the switch is okay, the breaker's okay. She resets the breaker, she comes out, sits down. Now she's a feisty little thing. She said, now these lights go off again, I'm going to be kicking some otherworldly butt. And the lights went off, and it came back on. And that and some other hauntings at the museum got us started. We said, hey, why don't we write a book about this place? So we did. And the first book I wrote about paranormal was called Weird West Overton. Now, we can flip that now. Paranormal phenomenon. Okay, Merriam-Webster defines paranormal as very strange and not able to be explained by what scientists know about nature and the world. There are many fields that fall under this definition of paranormal. And first one, here you go. The first one's already been discussed quite a bit here. Cryptozoology. It's probably the most widely known of the paranormal phenomena right now. Is the Bigfoot part of it. But it also includes things like wolfmen, dogmen, thunderbirds, and animals such as the chupacabra, whatever. I can't pronounce that. It's a foreign language. But what I'm going to be concerned with is hauntings. Okay, I'm going to be concerned with that branch of the paranormal phenomenon that's been popularized on TV over the last couple of decades. Specifically with the hauntings of people placed in things by people who passed on from the earthly plane that their physical existence no longer is. One more? Oh, here you go. What is a haunt or a haunting? Okay.
That's Riley, the haunt. Yep.
Well,
It's the wife.
yeah.
Yeah.
A haunted place is one that's frequented by ghosts. Another word for ghost is haunts. Okay? And there are two main types of hauntings: residual and active. An active haunting is where the spirit will interact with the living people. These are the ones where, for some reason or another, the spirit hasn't crossed over yet, and you're going to try to interact with it and help it out. One of the things you have to remember about spirits is spirits are people. They're just like us. They're just not on this plane anymore. So you've got to treat them with respect. I'm sick of these places where I've seen where they irritate them. One in particular was down at the West Overton Museum, up on the third floor of the museum. Clyde Overholt which is one of the people who's named after, the whole family, committed suicide on the 3rd floor. And a group from central Pennsylvania came in there, and they were doing it for their TV show. And they got up there and they just started calling names and saying, hey, if there's really a ghost here, do what you're going to do, blah, 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 we don't believe you and everything. So, for their entertainment, Clyde Overholt reenacted his suicide, complete with the shotgun blast and everything. Those people came running out of that building like you wouldn't believe. And it did no good. They absolutely did no good. The other one, which is the most common kind, is what we call residual haunting. Okay? That is when strong emotions or an event is imprinted on an object or a place. And you can watch it, but you cannot interact with it. There's a lot of this at Gettysburg, where you can lots of, yes?
What year did you say the mass suicide was?
The who?
This mass suicide in this house?
Mass suicide.
All the people who killed themselves on that 3rd floor. What year was that?
Oh, that wasn't in the South. That was at West Overton Museums. Okay, and Clyde killed himself probably around 1858 to 1860. Pardon? Okay.
Thanks. I was just trying to get a perspective on it.
Oh, okay. Let's see, where was it? Okay, the residual hauntings is sort of like watching a movie loop, where you'll see the same thing over and over and over again, and just like he was mentioning before, you can't interact with them. You just, it's like a non-physical thing. What kind of place to get haunted? Well, first we saw there the haunted house. That's what everybody is most familiar with, but anything can be haunted. I imagine that truck could be haunted if that coffin doesn't belong in the back. And other places that are haunted also outside areas like graveyards, for instance. But you don't get a lot of response in graveyards. You'll hear people say, oh, the graveyards are haunted. And for the most part, the graveyards are not, although there might be some residual stuff there. Another example is things can be haunted. Everything you see up there has been haunted at one time or another. Little plush animals, toy boxes, other boxes, the tables, chairs, furniture. Another thing is mirrors. There have been people who bought mirrors and they've been very, very sad that they did. One in particular done in Ligonier. There was a museum, not museum, a building was being renovated and torn down. And this couple went up there and says, do you mind if we look around and see if there's anything we can use in there? The foreman said, I don't care. They went in, they found this beautiful mirror, and he took it home. And they found a spot in the foyer for it, put it up there, and a statue the lady's dad had made fit just perfectly there. And as time went by, when the guy's looking in the mirror, you can see people looking over his shoulder, everything else like that. Finally, one day, the mirror fell down and split the statue in half. And they got rid of it. And this is going to bring us to ghosts. Ghosts are spirits. What is a ghost and how many kinds are there? Well, the ghost is a soul of a living person after that person's corporeal existence has terminated. In other words, that's what you are after you die. If you're still here, you're going to be a ghost. For a number of reasons, the ghosts are here. Most often because they have some sort of unfinished business on this plane of existence. These include people who have been murdered, people who died so suddenly, usually as a result of an accident or an act of war, they don't even know they're dead. And people who have an important message to deliver after they have passed on. And this goes to the next slide here.
Am I going ahead too fast there, Ed, or?
No, you got to go back one.
What?
Back one.
Back one?
Yeah, they murder most foul, okay? Then you go forward one here. Accidental deaths, sudden accidental deaths. And then some people are being kept here against their will. Recently, the group that I belong to is called the Ghost Research Foundation out of central Pennsylvania. We were doing an investigation at Indian Caverns up near Altoona. Okay, not the one up near Harrisburg. And we were there last year, and we helped a couple spirits cross over, and it took so long that night we had to come back again. And so we were just there a few weeks ago, and we found there not a ghost spirit, although it was a ghost spirit, but it was more along the lines of the demon. Okay, what they call a collector of souls. And when we located this thing, we also found out that what this creature had been doing is attending funerals where there's children, and had been taking their spirits and bringing them back there to the caverns. And we had at that point between 24 and 30 spirits of young children had to be helped cross over. And the only way we could do this, because of their fear, was to trap the collector. So I don't know how many people here know Patty Wilson, okay? You know Patty? Okay, well what Patty did was to make a salt circle, a broken salt circle, step into it, and entice the collector into the circle. And as he came into the circle, she stepped out of the circle, and we completed the circle. And then, through Patty talking with the children and explaining to them that it was no longer anything to fear, they were able to cross over. That's an example of spirits that are trapped here. They don't want to be here. Is that me?
Yeah.
Oh, my phone. Okay. Then there's different types of ghosts. I ain't managed to get a typo up in there. Okay. They're all basically the same, but they're different. Okay. You have spirits, which is like a generic term for a person who has died and has not quite gone over yet. Okay. Poltergeists are more in the demon area. They call them mischievous ghosts, but I don't think that they're. I don't think they ever were people. Okay. Then imps are like a minor poltergeist. I have an imp in my own house. Steals things, puts them in other places. One time I was putting a picture up on a wall. I measured it, set the tape measure down, put the picture in place, reached for the tape measure, and it was gone. And we had a little argument about whether or not there was going to be an exorcism. And I said, I want my tape measure back. And 10 minutes later, I went down for a cup of coffee and was sitting beside the coffee pot. Excuse me. I called that an imp. My wife called it early onset Alzheimer's. Then shades is another name for ghosts. Phantoms and shadows are all another name for ghosts. But there's different manifestations of these ghosts. Now, one of the things I wanted to keep on is, and I can't hammer it enough, that ghosts are people. If you're an idiot when you're alive, you're going to be an idiot when you're dead. Okay? But if you treat them with respect, they'll treat you with respect too, and you won't have any problems. Next slide, please. Okay, how do ghosts manifest themselves? Okay, the name of the game is energy. Okay. They have no energy of themselves. It takes energy for a ghost to make himself known. Where do they get their energy? Well, it's common after a thunderstorm where the energy has been come down from the lightning and everything. Also near power lines, power plants, running water. Running water has a tremendous amount of energy. And anybody who does paranormal investigations knows to take extra batteries with you. Because anything you're using, the ghosts are going to use the power in those batteries. And another thing is that heat is a form of energy. That's why you'll find cold spots in places that are haunted. Okay, way they manifest themselves, EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. That is probably the cheapest way of using energy that a ghost can use to manifest himself. And all it is basically a electronic voice recorder where you speak and the spirit will answer you, but you won't hear him until you play it back. He's using the energy from the batteries in there. He doesn't have to use any energy of his own. And it works like that. Now, the EVPs for us have been indispensable. It's been really great. It's the best way that we've been able to converse with the spirits. Now, next I want to start orbs. Okay, orbs is the next cheapest way for ghosts to manifest themselves. Okay, but there's two big drawbacks about orbs. Okay, one, in order to find orbs, you need one of these little electronic cameras, digital camera. Okay, two, there's just too many other things that look like orbs that can be orbs. The two main culprits are pollen and dust motes. Okay, 99.99.99.99% of every orb that you get on a digital camera is going to be one of those two things, pollen or dust motes. I don't like to verify anything as orbs unless I can see evidence that it was moving. Okay? We'll go to the next one. You can see on here, here's two stationary orbs. One's right here. Well, the arrows point to you. Okay? As far as this was taken at the West Overton Museum, by the way. And I have 150 pictures of orbs. Out of 150 pictures of orbs taken down there, there's only one that I actually consider to be a phenomenon. These orbs there, if you blow them up and everything, they'll come out, I believe they were pollen. Okay, you can see the patterns on them when you blow them up. Okay, next screen. Now this, what the hell's that arrow? That arrow's twisted around somehow.
Right there.
Yeah, it's supposed to point the other way.
Okay.
There you go. There's the orb. Okay, that orb is moving, and we come to the next screen. You can see how we can tell it. It has a tail. Okay, and that I can pretty much say that is an actual phenomenon. That's an orb. Now next is smoke and mist. I'm gonna get caught up here.
Oops, sorry, bud.
I don't know how to camera. Okay. Okay, now, back up. Yeah, smoke and mist. Nobody in this picture who was involved in taking this picture was smoking tobacco or anything else. Okay. And you can see how it came up there, and it's not breath. And we go to the next one. Partial apparitions. Now I have these illustrations, these apparitions here. I am not saying that these are actual, but they're just illustrative. Okay. And full body apparition, it's very, very hard to see there. Matter of fact, on this blow up, it's almost impossible to see. This picture was taken at the high water mark at Gettysburg. You can see it. Yes.
I got one better coming up, you'll see.
I got one better coming up too.
Not as good as mine. I mean, maybe you will.
But the one I got coming up, I think is going to be is a hoax. There you go. The lady in white.
Yeah.
All right. This particular picture was taken in 1938. It's a relatively famous picture.
Yeah.
Backing up what I was going to say before on the full body apparition, that's the most expensive way for a spirit to make himself known in energy-wise, to using the amount of energy it takes. Now, next coming into the lady in white. The lady in white is everywhere, okay? But it's not all the same lady in white. And this is just my own opinion, okay? It takes a lot of energy, tremendous amount of energy, to manifest yourself as a full apparition. Okay. So when they do that, in order to do that, they cannot make themselves solid or make themselves in color with the amount of energy they have available. So they appear in shades of gray. Okay, when they appear in shades of gray, people mistake that for white, and that's your lady in white. Now, the most expensive way that you can appear is a full body, full color apparition. Extremely rare. This picture here, we go to the next slide, is a much larger version of it. This picture was taken on the 3rd floor of the Ligonier Tavern. Okay. When the picture was taken, he wasn't in the picture. A friend of mine was there for Mellow Mike night, and when she got tired of listening to sucky homemade poetry and folk music and stuff like that, she started walking around the building taking pictures of the woodwork. When she got up to the 3rd floor, she took this picture. And when she downloaded it, he appeared. Now, we had to do some research. We found out who he is. Okay, his name is John England. He was a patron of the bar. He used to come in every day around 4 o'clock for a shot and a beer and watch the news. He died 6 years before the picture was taken. Now, one thing here you notice. Now, where'd he go? Where'd he go? There you go. Here you go. Notice he has a cigar in his hand. Okay. And he's also wearing a military uniform. Okay. John was never known to smoke when he was in that bar. When we talked to his daughter said, yeah, that's true. He quit smoking when he got out of the Army. But when he was in the Army, he used to like to smoke the occasional cigar. He's a full-body apparition. However, okay, you cannot interact with him. He's just there. Nobody's been able to interact with him. And okay, what's a real haunting? Okay, a real haunting will come when multiple persons have the same experience at various times. And a real haunting comes when there's spirits that don't come out of a bottle, as you were saying before. And where it's been verified by a psychic medium or a reputable paranormal investigative organization that uses all the proper safeguards to prevent contamination of the investigation. There you go. The team psychic is given absolutely no details about the specifics of the suspected haunting. This prevents the psychic from being contaminated by anybody else's opinion. Also, it allows you to verify the psychic's ability. In addition to that, the investigative tools are used by people who are proficient in their use. Now, these investigative tools are digital voice video recorders, digital voice recorders, EMF meters, geophones, IR cameras, K2 meters, and magnetometers. None of which is going to find a ghost for you. Okay? But they will help. They will help. They'll give you indication. Oops, where'd you go? Oh. but they will help. They will help. The videotaping, the voice taping, and everything else. Out of all of them, the only one I know of that has actually worked well for us has been the EVP on the digital voice recorder. The audio recorder, not so much. And the other ones will indicate positions. One I don't have up there is the, I can't remember exactly what it is. It's a thermometer that gives you instant readings. And when you get a 20-degree temperature drop, it shows an indication of something sucking the energy out of that area. There you go. Oh, we can go to the next one. Everything you get when you do an investigation has to be thoroughly debunked by members of the group. They go out of their way to make sure that absolutely every bit of doubt has been removed. If there's a tiniest bit of doubt, then it's a wipeout. It didn't happen. Okay, now next step here is folklore. Okay, And so you have, yes,
It's one other question about ghosts.
yes,
Have you heard of the ones who will actually follow the same person?
oh yes,
Yeah, yeah. They think the house is haunted and then they go, yeah.
oh yes.
Have there been a lot of cases of that?
Not a lot, but some
Yeah.
in this area anyhow. Alrighty, now we move into folklore, okay? You have, all your folklore stories are basically actual paranormal phenomena. Let me get this out of my pocket here. Okay, now what I do? I did something. Here. Nope, okay. Has a germ of truth in it, in that there was an actual paranormal phenomena that took place, okay? And how does a real paranormal event evolve into folklore? Through embellishment, gossip, and retelling of the story. The story changes every time someone tells a story. Like the old parlor game where someone tells you start here, work your way around the table, and by the end, it's not even the same story. Okay, some examples. Now this is in this area here. Okay, John Yank Brown, the horse thief of Armagh. Okay, John was famous back in the early 1800s, and up until about the time of the Portage Railroad. Okay, he had like a B&B or tavern in the little town of Armagh. He did pretty well with it, but he also had sticky fingers. He would steal horses and keep them in a cavern nearby. Then whenever he got half a dozen or so horses, he would drive them into Johnstown, which was the big town far away, and sell them. Okay, now today we can make it in Johnstown 10 minutes from there. Then it was a whole day's journey. And to this day, you get up on Clay Pike, and at certain times you can hear the clopping of the horses heading towards the market with John. Okay, that was the original story of John's haunting up there. Over the years, now it's developed that John saved all that money that he made on the horses, and it's buried in one of those caverns up there. And so over the last few decades, people have dug up that whole hillside, and they're not going to find anything. Another one is Thomas Skelton. Thomas Skelton is the ghost of Pack Saddle Gap. Pack Saddle Gap runs between Seward, New Florence, and Blairsville on the Conemaugh River. Thomas Skelton, years ago, was a nice young guy, had a beautiful girlfriend, they were engaged to be married. And so one day, he was going out to go hunting with his girlfriend. Through a screw-up, he mistakenly shot and killed her. So he carried her across the river, and he was carrying her back to her home, which her father was up on top of the mountain. As he was carrying up her, lightning hit the mountain, and the little cabin fell down into the river, and with the loss of her father and her mother. Okay. When it did that, it left the outline of Thomas's face in the rock up there. That's the original story. Okay. Tom became a hermit and spent the rest of his life pretty much in dementia. Okay, years go by after that. Now, Tom Skelton, after they put the railroad track through, steps out on the railroad tracks, and the trains hit him, and they stop, emergency stop, and go back and look for him and never find him. This happened 3 times in 2 weeks in 1948. Okay. Unfortunately, it never happened 3 times. Never even happened 1 time. It's just how a story evolves from the folklore. David Equalizer Lewis and his cache of gold. David Lewis was the Robin Hood of the middle 1800s in central Pennsylvania. He believed in stealing from the rich and keeping it. And one of his hideouts was the Indian caverns that we were at before. Okay, supposedly he wound up with like $2 million worth of gold that he buried in those caverns. Well, another fellow spent his entire life trying to find that gold. If that gold was buried in the caverns, it makes no difference anyhow, because when they made the caverns usable for people to go through there in tours, they poured up to 6 foot thick concrete to make pathways inside there. Okay, and then we go to the Jean Benet Tavern. Okay, there was a teamster back in 1762 or 3, I want to say. General John Forbes caught him there as a spy and hung him in what would be the basement of the inn right now. And they buried him there because the fellow was known in the area. They didn't want any trouble with riots. Okay, that part of the story is true. Okay, the teamster made apparitions from time to time, coming back and irritating people, as you know, some ghosts do. That is also true. The other thing is that as the years went by, the rumors started that he was buried with gold and silver. Okay. And these rumors persisted for years and years and years and years, until about 15 years ago, a new couple bought the tavern. They're putting a restaurant in the bottom floor. In the bottom floor, they had to lower it down in the basement 2 feet to accommodate it so they could put the restaurant in there. When they did it, they found this guy's bones down there. So the teamster was actually buried down there. And when they reburied him, there was no longer any hauntings from him. Okay, but there was no money that he could find either. Well, we were overheating. Well, we'll let that cool out. Well, while it's cooling down, I'll just go along here. We can catch up later, no big thing. Some even closer local examples is Becky's grave in Snavely Cemetery over in Richland. Okay. The legend goes a young girl named Becky was hung as a witch in the early 1800s because she had befriended an Indian who taught her the forbidden folklore of herbal healing. Okay. It said when there's a full moon and a westerly wind blows, you can see Becky's spirit wandering through the cemetery. There's only one problem. She's not buried in that cemetery. Okay. Becky's grave is actually in a few miles away from there in Dunmire Cemetery. And the true story is that she was born Rebecca Wirtz on March 18, 1807 and died along with her husband in a house fire on January 22nd, 1892. Okay. Here's a partial quote from a newspaper clipping found in the Craig family Bible dated January 30, 1892. Burned to death in bed, a horror in the village of Elton Wednesday night. The house of Samuel Craig and another building destroyed, and he and his wife suffocated, their bodies partly consumed in the flames. The villagers, wild with excitement, heroic attempts at rescue. And that's just one that goes like that. You have Brown Cemetery in Jackson Township. That's right around here. Okay. So this cemetery has been reportedly the site of strange sounds. Lights in the woods and winds have blown through the cemetery, but not the surrounding area. There's also been alleged sightings of an elderly couple walking among the trees by the road. Okay. I'll tell you what, just about any day of the week, I can ride down the road and see an elderly couple walking along. I don't know what that means. Okay, Laurelwood Care Center in Johnstown. Okay. Okay, spooky pounding on the windows and ghosts roaming the halls. Okay. My wife just spent a year there, and the only ghosts roaming the halls are people working the midnight shift. Okay. Also, Lower Yoder Woods. Got that up for, yeah. Okay, people hear voices, whistling, and other explaining noises. Orbs are sometimes seen. The legend are that old miners still walk the woods. And Lower Yoder was once the home to the Morrowville Mines, which began operation in 1917. These are just...
Orb.
Oh, another orb. There we go. But it's moving, so it's for real. And that's just, you know, that's just talk. nobody has ever had a chance to verify any of that stuff. One here that does not have to do with the haunting is, back up. More of these dogs. This does not involve a haunting, but this is a good example of folklore. Okay. Morley's dog has gone through some difficulties over the past century and a quarter. He was washed off his foundation. First of all, he was bought by a miner. He was a cast iron dog. He was never even a real dog. Okay. He was washed off his foundation during the 1889 flood and was found in the rubble at the stone bridge. So he was replaced, he was vandalized, he was filled with cement to stabilize him, but that only resulted in more damage. And finally, right now, he is at Concurrent Technologies Corporation in Richland Township for restoration. And there's a fiberglass replica in his spot in that cute little park that Pennsylvania Senator John Wozniak set aside for him. Okay? Why is all this hoopla over a dog? Because he was given credit for saving a number of people during the 1889 flood, and the statue is a tribute to his bravery. Well, no. Like I said, the miner bought the statue, it was a cast iron statue. He was never a real dog. We go to the next one. Here's the real hero. Next slide. A dog by name of Romney. Okay, Romney was owned by Charles Kress. It was a big old Newfie in Newfoundland during the 1889 flood when Kress's wife, daughter, and another child fell off the roof, the house roof, into the flood. The dog rescued him, but I guess he didn't have a good agent. Okay, next thing is hoaxes.
We have 2 minutes.
I don't think I have to define what a hoax is.
Yeah, we have 2 minutes.
Okay. Not to define what a hoax is, but there's a lot of reasons for people wanting to do a hoax. A lot of those reasons involve love and beer. If a guy can't bring a girl into his arms with affection, maybe he can scare her into them with fear. Immaturity is another one. That's where a lot of school haunting stories come from. Stupidity and titillation, and to keep people off their property. Now here's a few right here. North Star High School in Boswell. There's a story there about the bloody footprints of the wrestling coach that fell down the steps. Never happened. Okay. One here that I can't stress more. Livermore Cemetery. Livermore Cemetery has nothing to do with the movie. Okay. Night of the Living Dead was shot at a cemetery north of Pittsburgh. The only part of Livermore Cemetery that was in there was the sign that said Livermore Cemetery, and then they took it back to the cemetery. That cemetery has been vandalized like you wouldn't believe. The town of Livermore is a different story, though. Okay? Sometimes in the morning mist, you can see the rooftops of the town poking through the mist, and the town's not even there. It's bulldozed. And Bloody Mary of Hornerstown. Okay, I'll just read this. What a young lady said who was scared away from it. What she said. There's a small cemetery in the Hornerstown section of Johnstown, and there's a statue there that's nicknamed Bloody Mary. The statue changes every night, whether it be her dress or her facial expression. I only went there once, and I will not go back there again. It is said if you stand on her grave and defile in any way, she will come to you that night to hurt or kill you. And that's the best way I can think of to keep people out of the cemetery. And that's all I have.
Where is that? What cemetery?
All right.
It's in Hornerstown. I don't know the name of it. Hornerstown, section of Johnstown.
That's a large area.
Yeah, I know, but that's why they bring Johnstown up into areas. Hornerstown is like eastern end of town, I think. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer. Yeah.
I grew up in Seward, right across the street from New Florence.
Yep.
When I was a kid, they kept telling us about the Swamp Lady, the legend of the Swamp Lady on Murray Hill Road. And I have no idea what that was. There's always told, be careful, the Swamp Lady will get you.
That's your parents keeping you out of the swamp. That's a lot of those things over in New Florence up on. Wait a second here.